Bang, Rowan, I couldn't do that at 27. No nonsense, straight to the point, courage, detail.
It finally went down, and not quietly. That lawsuit everyone thought would fizzle out just detonated into the most expensive television judgment in U.S. history. Karoline Leavitt didn't just win, she torched the house down. What started as a headline now has ABC and The View gasping. For air caught in what insiders are whispering is a slow-motion corporate collapse. $800 million, not a slap on the wrist, not even a scandal. We're talking a full-blown media extinction event. The View, once the queen of daytime trash talk, just got buried under the weight of its own arrogance. Whoopi, am I a joy vanished, and Sunny word is she's dialing up legal help like her future depends on it. Because it just might mean, while Karoline, she's walking like she owns the headlines now. This wasn't some courtroom technicality. This was a cultural grenade lobbed straight into the heart of mainstream media. What we're witnessing isn't just karma, it's karma with cameras rolling in a mic drop finale. Once untouchable, The View is now staring at the very real threat of bankruptcy. It's not a rumor, it's reality, and we're about to expose everything: the dirty emails, the frantic texts, the desperate settlement calls nobody was supposed to see.
There is so much good news, so much winning out of the Trump White House right now that the mainstream legacy media can't keep up with.
We are peeling back the velvet curtain on how Karoline flipped the script, crushed the narrative, and sent daytime TV's loudest mouths into a spiral they never saw coming. The moment the gavel hit, that bench boom history made. The blast didn't just shake The View, it detonated ABC's entire money machine in a matter of seconds. The shock wave slammed into Wall Street like a battering ram. ABC's parent company, once the untouchable titan of entertainment, the too big to fail beast, watched its stock nosedive before the first lie even hit a conference table. Billions in market value gone. Traders froze, analysts were left stunned, financial anchors trashed their teleprompters mid-show. CNBC cut their tech segment on live air just to scream the breaking news. An $800 million judgment just shattered ABC's market confidence into dust. That sound echoing through Manhattan. It wasn't applause, it was sirens. While Karoline Leavitt's legal team toasted with coffee like they just won the Super Bowl, chaos had already erupted inside Manhattan's glass towers. Ad agencies erupted in full-blown panic mode. For top-tier sponsors, household names you see every commercial break, cut ties immediately. Not next quarter, not next week. Immediately, one insider called it a damn break. Every passing minute, another brand pulled out phones, exploded boardrooms, melted down entire campaigns, vanished commercial slots, went dark. The View's flashy production budget gone before it had a chance. And here's the final dagger: most networks rely on crisis insurance to patch up disasters like this, especially when their talent spirals out. But ABC, they had a policy: carve out the kind that excludes drama caused by their own stars. No safety net, no plan B. What started as a lawsuit has now turned into a financial firestorm. And the blaze is still spreading. There it was, the fatal clause: ABC's crisis insurance didn't cover intentional defamation. And that's exactly what Karoline's victory was built on: a deliberate, malicious hit job disguised as daytime drama. No coverage, no safety net, no backup parachute. This wasn't some courtroom speed bump. This was the Titanic ripping through an iceberg with no lifeboats in sight. ABC's finance division collapsed, total system failure. Emergency huddles broke out. In tension-soaked boardrooms, lawyers stormed the building like EMTs at a 5-alarm inferno. Executives flipped through spreadsheets like they were diffusing bombs. One question gripped everyone: can we even survive this? Then it started, the one word no one in corporate America ever wants to hear. First, it was just whispers, then frantic Slack messages, and finally, it hit leaked memos like a siren. Bankruptcy. One junior HR rep reportedly messaged her friend in graphics. They're murmuring Chapter 11. This wasn't gossip. It was standard operating panic. Hiring froze, budgets got gutted, studio trips canceled, security staffing slashed, craft services from Felt Mine and Today old sandwiches and bitter drip coffee. ABC's once glamorous halls now drenched in anxiety and burned espresso. And through the entire meltdown, Karoline Leavitt didn't say a single word. No media parade, no gloating tweet, no post-victory monologue, nothing. And that silence, it cut deeper than a viral headline. While ABC scrambled to patch up the wreckage, Karoline stood still calm, collected, cold-blooded, watching it all go down brick by corporate brick. She didn't need to say a thing. The View wasn't just floundering, it was sinking fast. And the woman they once mocked, minimized, turned into a punchline. Karoline didn't just fight back. She became the storm. Don't blink. This was just the beginning.
Joy Behar just offered her analysis on why Leavitt was picked for the role.
Because right here, this exact moment is when the empire really started to crumble. The second that $800 million judgment dropped like a legal guillotine. The chaos didn't just engulf ABC, the spotlight tightened. And it locked in on three very specific faces: Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, Sunny Holland. These weren't just household names anymore. They became corporate risks, walking, talking liabilities. Yesterday's icons of daytime TV had morphed into real-time cautionary tales. Their once polished legacies, torched, their credibility ripped to shreds. Their careers didn't just take a hit, they got dragged into legal quicksand. And not even the best crisis PR money can buy could stitch together the pieces, while headlines obsessed over ABC's financial collapse. Something even nastier brewed behind those high-security studio doors, each co-host individually summoned. No cameras, no glam squad, just cold rooms, colder lawyers, and legal briefings that read like final warnings. No more applause, no more hot takes, just the sound of careers dangling over the edge. What comes next? Even there, agents are scared to ask. No punchlines, no stylists, no fake smiles, just cold-eyed attorneys clutching folders full of facts and consequences. One by one, the hosts were hit with the same brutal message. They might be personally liable for part of that $800 million judgment, yes. Personally, yes. Financially, let that sting settle in. Whoopi, the swagger vanished. Insiders say she called in a crisis management firm, the kind usually hired by disgraced CEOs or fallen politicians. That's how deep the panic ran. Joy Behar, she straight up disappeared. No calls, no emails, nothing. One crew member even joke. She ghosted her own scandal. And Sunny Holland, the one with legal credentials according to sources, she broke down in tears during a closed-door meeting. No cameras, no filters. Just a raw, silent collapse. She understood what the others didn't want to admit. This wasn't just reputation damage. This was career annihilation. But Karoline's legal team didn't just file a lawsuit. They launched a full-blown tactical strike. What they revealed wasn't just evidence. It was a calculated map of malice, Slack messages dripping with cruelty, behind-the-scenes footage of the hosts mocking Karoline during ad breaks, producer memos explicitly instructing who would land the hardest hit. This wasn't off-the-cuff chaos. It was a rehearsed humiliation stage, and executed. ABC's defense called it banter and spur-of-the-moment heat. But the receipts told a colder story. Every insult, every look, every smirk was time-stamped, cross-referenced, and laid out in court like a production schedule. Then came the final blow, a video clip never meant to be seen, unearthed from deep inside ABC's archive. In it, Joy Behar casually sips coffee backstage, laughs with a producer, and drops the line that killed any remaining goodwill. Let her sue us for that. The arrogance, the smirk. That one sentence gutted the entire defense. And she did. She sued. She won. When that clip played, the courtroom went completely silent. No gasps, no whispers, just the sound of egos hitting the floor. One juror whispered,
"How ironic that Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of the ladies on The View spend their time calling Republicans the conspiracy theorists, but they have been wrong about everything they have said over the last couple of years."
That's cold. And that was the moment everything snapped into focus. Joy didn't just weaken their case. She blew it apart. That video clip became the symbol of everything the public can't stand about today's media. The smug tone, the cheap shots, and the belief that fame makes you untouchable. Turns out it doesn't. To make things worse, Joy actually tried to give her take on why Karoline was cast in that political segment in the first place, a last jab. But Karoline, she stayed silent. No press tour, no interviews, no reaction, just stillness. And that silence hit harder than any comeback ever could, because this wasn't just about winning in court. This was about setting a new standard, real consequences for unchecked egos for the hosts of The View. This wasn't a little media stumble. It was a straight collapse with no safety net and no one lining up to save them and Karoline. She was just getting started now. Let's take you inside ABC's headquarters, because behind those polished walls things were boiling over. Imagine it, a sleek boardroom filled with leather chairs and a table built for power lunches and celebration toasts. But this time it was quiet, too quiet, until it wasn't. One staffer called it a corporate wake-up call. Another insider said it was the most unhinged meltdown ABC's execs had ever seen when that $800 million verdict hit. It didn't just cause panic, it set off actual security alerts. Internal systems flagged multiple executives trying to access sensitive financial documents in real time. That wasn't protocol, that was chaos. And it wasn't just about money anymore. It was about control slipping through their fingers, and Karoline watching it all unfold steady as ever. Meanwhile, ABC's crisis response team, trained for scandals, not full-scale collapse, froze. They had protocols for damage control, but this wasn't damage control. This was a corporate freefall. Let's walk through the timeline. At exactly 2:01 p.m. moments after the jury dropped its verdict, an emergency meeting was called. Subject line: immediate response lawsuit. Verdict by 2:15 p.m. The war room was packed. Legal counsel, top PR handlers, network execs, showrunners, and even Disney stakeholders dialed in through encrypted Zoom. The room was heavy, thick air, clenched jaws, shallow breathing. One exec slammed the table so hard a glass pitcher flipped and shattered. "We let this happen," he growled. Another, visibly shaking, launched a legal binder across the room, yelling, "We enabled every bit of this." Someone whispered, "This is bigger than Don Imus, bigger than Roseanne." Another cut in, "This is legacy destruction." Then, door burst open. A junior legal assistant stepped in, pale, clutching a white envelope. It was fresh, straight from Karoline Leavitt's legal team. Inside was just one sentence, printed in stark Helvetica: "We suggest you begin calculating liquidation options." Liquidation, a word never even imagined in the same sentence as The View. This wasn't spin material. This was a legal bombshell. And they were now standing in the blast zone. The reaction, pure chaos. Some execs demanded immediate action. Fire Whoopi, fire Joy, fire Sunny, burn the brand and cut it loose. Others warned that moving too fast would scream guilt if we panic. Now one said, "We're admitting we knew this was indefensible all along." Voices clashed, desks were hit, red faces everywhere. One executive stormed out yelling, "I told you not to greenlight that segment." And then came the leak. A marketing insider dropped a bomb of their own, a long-buried internal poll, one that had predicted exactly this level of backlash if the segment aired the way it did. They ignored the warning. And now the fallout was hitting every floor. They ignored the warning. Now that internal poll is Exhibit A in a new wave of lawsuits, this time coming from furious shareholders. That's right, the reckoning didn't end with the verdict. It's growing fast. This case didn't just cost ABC $800 million in damages, it shattered the foundation. What followed was a tidal wave of investor-backed, looming class action threats, and something far more dangerous, the growing talk of full-scale network-wide bankruptcy. What began as a lawsuit had now mutated into a historic corporate meltdown, the kind of nosedive executives whisper about, but hope they'll never see firsthand. Inside that emergency meeting, ABC CFO reportedly laid it all out without sugarcoating a thing. Ad revenue losses, $140 million, legal fees already at $38 million, sponsorship contracts canceled or voided, $221 million gone overnight, brand equity completely gutted. No number could capture the damage. One exec described it like watching the engine rip off mid-flight and knowing there's no way to fix it in time. And then, just as they were scrambling to build a damage control strategy, the second strike landed. A video clip leaked across Twitter like wildfire. Joy Behar, after taping, casually sipping wine and smirking as she said, "Let's see her sue us for that." Well, she did. And she won. The clip hit 2 million views within minutes, 10 million hashtags under an hour. Word to use Joy. Be wrecked you. Whoopi went quiet. Your sunny side gone. Sponsors freaked. One major automaker announced full reevaluation of their entire daytime media by another conglomerate froze all syndication of The View across regional partners effective immediately. And behind the scenes, Disney executives had already started running projections for the worst-case scenario if this bankruptcy lands. One senior exec said, "We're not talking damage control, we're talking pulling the plug on the entire daytime division, not rebranded obliterated." And somehow in the middle of the fallout, ABC still thought a polished apology or a few well-timed suspensions might patch things up, but Karoline's legal team didn't even respond. No press conference, no interviews, no statement, just silence, because at that point, there was nothing left to debate. The verdict was final, the damage was expanding by the hour, and The View, it was being wiped from existence. ABC went from "let's make this go viral" to "let's explore liquidation." In under 3 months, no PR stunt could rewrite what had happened, because this wasn't a media scandal, it was a full-blown reckoning. Newsrooms and studios across the country were watching closely, not just as observers, but as potential targets, because if Karoline Leavitt could bring down The View, then no host, no network, no off-script moment was safe anymore. Let's talk ripple effects. ABC wasn't the only one rattled. CBS called emergency meetings. NBC ordered legal audits on every unscripted segment aired over the past 6 months. Even Netflix and Hulu quietly reached out to legal consultants. Why? Because Karoline didn't just win in court. She shattered the illusion that media power equals legal immunity. Now the entire industry is treating live talk shows like ticking time bombs. Writers are gutting scripts like they're scrubbing evidence. Hosts are attending mandatory defamation training. One CNN insider revealed that new contracts now come with narrative liability clauses, making on-air talent personally responsible for what they say. No more hiding behind the network, no more plausible deniability. And over on TikTok, they've already given it a name. The talk show takedown, Twitter's overflowing with hashtags #ViewBankrupt.